This is, let me see, Keto Tape Business Consulting Group. We're going to start with my friend over here, Elder Grady. We're going to talk about this subject that really is really
in the news
today. And he has an opinion, I have an opinion. But we will definitely try to do some clarity on which side or why we think differently on this situation with a young lady who is right now she's brain dead, but she's carrying a baby, and they're gonna keep it alive until it's full. She's gonna keep her alive on some sort of machines long enough so the baby is healthy enough so that they can. And the baby, they said it might have something wrong with it, and the issue is if when it comes out, who's gonna take care of the baby? Whether it's family members or whether it's the state. And should that person, they turn, I guess, the machine off and let the baby die of its natural causes because the mother's dead, she dead, or he dead. And but I'm gonna let Grady. I'm gonna turn it over to Grady because I got a definite opinion. I might take a little long, but I'm gonna let him. No, I'm not gonna start. I'm gonna let you start because you got a different opinion, and I want to hear your opinion. The young lady I was talking to yesterday have a different opinion because she went through some things, and but I'm not going to put that person in it. I'm just going to put my opinion in it. And that's all it is an opinion. And what I think based on life itself, I don't want to play God. So I'm going to let Grady play God. Not play God, but at least talk about his opinion on what he would do in this situation if he was God, I guess, or if he was Okay, I'll turn it over to you, Grady. Go ahead and talk about this thing.
Well, I know that by the time some of y'all view this video, the time would have passed. But right now, this is current day. But this by the time some of y'all view this video, maybe 2 or 3 days later, maybe who knows. But nonetheless, the issue is that the woman is brain dead. And she's on a machine that is keeping basically her body alive to ensure that the baby maintains itself. So I'm of the opinion that no, I'm not being God. I think a lot of people are trying to play God with this issue, but I'm not God. So my opinion is that if they go ahead and allow nature to take its course. I think this right now. I think this woman is maybe in the first 1 or 2 months or something of pregnancy, and I think if they just allow nature to take its course, then yes, the baby would perish because the mothers perish, and there's nothing else sustaining the baby. Now, but when we get in there and or doctors or what have you, the law. In this case, particularly in whatever state she's in, the law playing a very, very large part in ensuring that this baby is somehow allowed to mature and to be birthed into the world. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that what's going on is right, in my opinion. Now, I think that the family should have something to say about this, and I don't even know if the woman, even if the woman had or somebody else had what they call that power of attorney.
Yes.
And whether or not they would even allow that family who holds the power of attorney to say, hey, we want this, we want the life of the woman terminated, so therefore she should be taken off of these machines and allowed to perish and go on and meet the Lord. Now, that is what my opinion is. Now, again, to just simply, I think man does get something because of science and all these, somehow we got all these laws and opinions, just letting somebody die nowadays, it takes an act of God for somebody to say, okay, let them die. Now it seems like, but instead of just saying allowing this woman to have a natural death, for lack of a better way to put it, and then let things go on and progress as they should naturally, and then yes, the baby may perish. But you can't just go around saving and I know they won't do it because there's no way you can save every woman who is in a situation where their brain is really not functioning or maintaining their body or maintaining their life. Their brain is unable to do that, but then you throw all them on machines, then at one point you're gonna run out of beds. Okay, and I would think. And so, what are you gonna do then? Then you start picking and choosing which ones you're gonna allow to be kept alive. So there's a lot here. So I'm saying sometimes we just have to let nature take its course and stop trying to act like we got to save everybody. Okay, and then allow even if that woman was had the choice herself to say, hey, if it's me or my baby, then I think that woman could choose, whether or not she wants to give her life for a child. But then would she? We don't know. But I know in this situation, she's not having that choice. But the state most likely is making that choice for her for whatever reason. Some people think that what's going on is that these people are basically testing, this situation where see how far along the baby can be carried without the mother being alive. It's a little of a test bed. Now, honestly, we don't know if that baby is even alive in that womb. We don't know. Only the doctors tell you it is. Okay, they say, they hook it up. You got this little fetal heartbeat, whatever they want to call it, and that's something that grows over time too. We don't know if they really actually maintain it, that whether or not that baby is alive, but they say it is for whatever reason. Okay, and I think again, they should allow nature to take its course. But when we allow science to start overriding our own self, overriding nature and stuff like that, then yes, we're in a situation now where this is what's happening. And this won't be the last time, I don't think, because again, man makes decisions not based on what they think God wants and rather what way things happen in nature, but they want to make a decision based on what they want and think, well, we got the machines. Like hey, what's that old movie, The $1 Million Man? Oh, we can rebuild them. We can make them alive. We can make them better. And that's what they do with this scientific stuff. They think, because we got all this technology, we can make people better, and they can last longer and all this stuff. So sometimes, we need to step back and consider, just allowing, in this case with this woman and this baby, to allow nature to take its course. That's my opinion,
Well, I got a different opinion. I'm not going to go by whether machines, because we get hooked up on machines all the time, and whether the woman or her family, that I don't know the situation, but if there's any way you can save the life of the baby, I believe the baby should be maintained into the time. I just believe too that these folks are not lying. Docs ain't lying and saying, okay, I'm just fooling everybody. The baby might be dead or whatever.
I said that was just an opinion. I didn't say that they were lying.
Okay, well, you didn't say it, but it was insinuating that the doctors.
I said this could be possible. I didn't say again. I didn't say they were lying.
I'm not going that far.
Well, I'm
saying the baby is alive. I'm saying I'm not going to call it a fetus, because if it's a heartbeat, there's a life. Okay, it's a heartbeat. There's life. So it's a baby. It's not anything to do with fetus or and all these other names that they give it, because they don't like to say baby. Because if you say baby, people get upset because they thinking they don't like to hear that term. So as far as I'm concerned, there's a life inside of this woman who's happened to be brain dead, and the state feel that they can save this baby. Now it might come out with some different disabilities. It might. We don't know. It might come out healthy. The cards are not. I don't know. The technology is saying they think that they can save this baby, and that's what they want to do. So life is important. A life comes from God and is a gift. And I understand the argument on both sides, but in this particular case, if they feel, and if there's, that's why we're country of laws. And I know you got naysayers on one side, we got other sayers, the right and the left, going against this one situation. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the baby turned out healthy, and it turns out to be scientists, who cures diseases and stuff like that. But we don't know. We people have a tendency. We had. They said hundreds of millions of babies, and 90% of those babies were killed in the mother's womb because of choice, not because they had any diseases, not because these one-offs or two-offs situations that we keep putting in the news. Life comes from God. And people over in other countries, sometimes they have 9 babies just to have one that will live because they don't have even they can't even feed nobody. They just have babies just so they can have babies, but they don't try to kill any of them. They want to have a lot of babies. But in the West, in the United States, it seemed to be babies is not considered anything anymore to me. But that's I'm gonna leave it alone because we got to go on to the you want to read.
I want to
reboot.
Revisit. We're not gone away from this subject yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Because again, there's a lot to be said, and just to say that the baby or fetus baby, whatever you want to call it, the unborn child, if you want to put it that way, a child is not alive until it takes its first breath. That baby, for all we know, much like the mother is right now. Am I a scientist or being scientific? No. The mother is being kept alive via machine. That baby, child, fetus, whatever you want to call it, is being kept alive in a way. The mother's a machine too. And that mother's keeping that fetus alive or that baby alive. If that mother die, or if that baby is somehow or another taken off of the mother, then that baby gonna die inside that womb. There's nothing keeping it alive. So to say that that baby is a baby, yes, we can name it what you want. But until that baby come out, takes a breath or 2 breaths or 3, or even just, like I said, just 1 breath. If it doesn't take 1 breath, it's dead. It's not alive. Okay? Then what they do is just bury it. I mean, as a kind thing to do. But that baby is still almost, I like to put it like this, but non-viable. Okay? It has no vitality. It has no animation. It is nothing unless it takes a breath. And that's where we used to be. They used to smack the baby on the bottom to get it to breathe. If you didn't, a lot of times they come out without a breath. It's called, what they call it, a dead birth or something like that. Okay? And that was it. Nobody went around trying to, blaming the mother because like something she may have done to cause that baby not to breathe. And now it's a possibility with all these laws they put out that they can blame the mother for not being able, for that baby dying, more not really dead. It was already dead. She didn't cause a death, but they can blame her because it didn't take a breath. You never know what these laws can do. People, they writing laws and it says every day. They don't really, doctors themselves say, I don't know what to do because they know if they did anything, somebody somewhere can say they didn't do whatever they did caused the death, not known without any real proof that they did anything other than the natural way of things happened with that child. Okay. And I say God, whether God had anything to do with that is irrelevant. Okay. God didn't have nothing to do with it, but some people say God wanted that child. They'll say all kinds of things like you say on both sides. God had nothing to do. God did it. It don't matter. But either way, the natural occurrences is what happened. Okay. And that's whether that baby live or die is up. I guess you can, in a way I like to say up to God, but I don't really want to put that on God. Okay, so I don't want to bring him in, but I'm saying whatever happens, it's a natural occurrence. And for that woman to continue to carry that baby, it's unnatural right now. Because if she take off that machine, she being a machine herself, maintaining the life of that baby, then the baby would perish. Okay, but yet they want to keep the machine on her, keeping her alive. And then she in turn is a machine in a way. Scientists tell you, hey man, ain't nothing but a machine anyway. We just had some flesh on us. We just had blood running through our veins instead of electricity, so to speak. So if she is left to perish, then yes, that baby gonna perish, and nobody's at fault. But you can't blame nobody for anything other than than a natural occurrence. You can't say, oh, this is what happened because that woman somehow or another unnaturally died, or somehow that unnaturally did. Whatever the case may be, nobody should be held accountable for something like that. And you should not write. I think these people should not be writing laws to prevent women from having abortions. It's not their choice. I mean, whatever reason that woman has for committing for having an abortion, that's her choice. But you shouldn't punish her for it. Let God handle that part. Let her own conscience be her conviction. Let her own conscience convict her, whether good or bad. Okay. But then that person, I got a lot to say, but my friend here, he always tell me I kind of get carried on. So but I
want you to keep carrying on because I want the people to see the difference between a life and the difference between people who uses natural occurrences to say what they say. Because a baby, here we go, we try to label, a baby is alive when the heartbeat. I don't care what anybody says.
I think
if the heartbeat is, if the heart is beating, that vital organ, that's a baby, is not just whatever name that the doctor want to give it to take that life. And it happens more in our community. 40% of the abortions comes from 45% of the abortions in the black community.
It don't make a difference. We don't. But that's because I don't want to hate that.
I don't know. I don't want to.
Well, tell me something. If you got the stats, well, how many? What's the percentage of white abortions?
Well, I don't know. I don't
exactly.
Care about how many white abortions. I'm pretty sure it's a lot. Again, as far as numbers, I'm pretty sure.
Right, but we always talking about right, but we always point.
But we a minority community, and we got to stop.
It don't make a difference whether we're a minority. Why not just look at the whole? Let's look at it as a whole.
Well, we're not.
Let's say out of every woman in America, black, white, Asian, and it'll make no difference what race, as we define them, what country you are of. Mm-hmm. If we count them all, every woman in America having abortion, we're going to be, abortion probably be over 60-70%. Okay, because you can't just say, but we always point to general. We always want to narrow down, point down to the black community.
Because we have the percentage wise, we have more than. And they
don't make no difference.
They seem maybe to have because we can't afford it.
We can't afford it. Why should you? We see right now.
Well,
we're going to argue about this. Yes, I like this brother because he lets me talk. But I'm telling you like this.
I thought I had the mic, but I guess I don't.
You don't. But I always say, we look at life like this. We point at the black community. Black, it don't make a difference. Women in the black community. I don't want our
babies aborted.
Women in the black community.
I don't care who takes care.
I don't want them aborted either. Don't get me wrong. I am not a proponent
we call
for abortion. I am basically
you're Kevorkian. Is that
I don't know what is that man who would say
the guy who likes to kill babies.
No,
they call him Dr. Kill.
No, he has something to do with suicide. I think he has something to do with suicide.
So regardless, the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Suicide is self-inflicted. Abortion is what you do. It ain't self-infliction. Okay. It is what it is.
Okay, go ahead.
Again, we talk about all these people. We talk about he didn't open up. My friend here didn't open up the can
I'm just saying,
to black people, and I'm going to get into it. On the label of the can. Okay. It says ingredients. Okay. Poor people. Okay.
Okay.
With a dash of poverty.
Okay. Doctor.
Okay. And everything. Not enough money to maintain their lifestyle.
Yes.
Okay. And a lot of black women are put in a situation. I ain't gonna say put. Well, kill the black women?
You said kill the baby. You said go ahead.
I'm saying a lot of black women having children.
Specific. I want the audience to see what we're talking about.
Right, we're talking about abortion, basically.
Yes,
we're talking about abortion.
Well, okay, so I'm saying in this case, this is just this case. Yeah, we got a little further. We can talk about that. But we're talking about in this case. I believe that the law is correct. If there's a baby in there, and if the baby can be saved, not whatever these names, they get fetuses and all these other names. I'm pretty sure one of my family members gonna jump on me for that. But I'm pretty sure.
Why do we get the name fetus? We came from because scientists they drilled down and said, okay, now we can call it a fetus.
I call them Dr. Frankenstein. They want.
Shoot, I think these guys who making these laws are more like Dr. Frankenstein. They think they can determine what life is.
It's a law on the books.
How to keep people alive.
And I think that's a good thing. I think a lot of these folk who can't even have babies want babies. And we got to do more to ease these adoption laws and so on and so forth. I know we always go to the extreme and say they raping babies, they put them in institutions and all these other things. We have to do better on that front. But as far as this particular case, I still think that this is just my opinion, and everybody have an opinion.
Yeah,
I think that person. She's brain dead anyway. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they.
I say take her off the machine.
Baby. No,
take her off the machine.
No, I'm not.
Then we'll see what happens. That's not a see what happens.
I'm not. No, I wouldn't take her off the machine. I wouldn't personally take her off the machine.
Let her family make that decision, right?
Well, the family might have made a decision to keep her on the machine. We don't know. I don't know.
I mean, the families complain and say, hey, what they doing is wrong. Because they want to see her loved one. They want to see their loved one, which is the mother. Basically, they want to, for lack of a better way to put it, they want to, go ahead and had a going home service for her. Okay, they want that.
They can go ahead and have
but right now they got 9 months almost, or maybe more.
Well, they can have it. They can have a memorial service right now. And then so when
You're a cold brother.
But I'm saying, in this case, I think the law is on the right side. So in terms of letting that person have the baby, because the law is on the baby can't say anything. The baby is helpless right now. They can't. The baby is they holding this baby hostage, and this baby is saying,
"You're right." The
baby is saying, "Let me live." But nobody else is going to agree with me. I mean, the left is not going to agree with me.
No, I'm not.
So I'm going to let you go ahead and say the last word. Then we can hopefully get a little bit on this enmeshed family. But we're still
talking about family. Enmeshed family. Family having problems. This is a family problem because the family problem is with the government telling the family what they going to do with their sister or their baby, that mother's daughter, whatever. The government's telling them what they're going to do. So yeah, it's a problem with the family. All right, it's the family of the government. And whoever wrote that law had no concern for the person who's carrying the baby. They only wrote it because they more concerned about the baby, as you put it. The baby could have really zero chance of living, but they were more concerned about that baby than the person who was alive. That person who's contributing to society or could contribute to society. Okay, if that person was a I don't know, well-known actress or something and fell in this situation, you think they would? I guess they could make her do what they're doing now. To them, it don't matter what that person is or whatever. Then their focus turns away from that person until a baby that really has no life in and of itself, has no way to maintain its own life. Okay, doesn't have no way. It doesn't poop. It doesn't ask for food. It doesn't do anything. It's just sitting there in the juices of the woman's belly, just living off the mama. Okay, whatever, and then they feeding it whatever they want. That's all that baby is doing. It's not contributing nothing. I mean, granted, babies don't really contribute anything. But the point is that particular instance where the baby hasn't even seen the light of day, they just keeping it, and then on top of that, what happens once the baby's born? Who they going to give it to? Will they give it to an orphanage?
You worried about something.
I'm worried about the future. We're not concerned ourselves with the future, do we?
And it was I would like to be one scripture. I know people don't like the Bible.
I'm gonna let you change the subject.
He said, it was Jeremiah. He said, "I knew you before you were in your mother's womb."
You know everybody.
Right. He said, before your mama met your daddy.
You know all them people who wrote them kind of law what they were going to do.
I always bring it back.
Person they were.
if the mother's gone home, hopefully she gone home to glory. Hopefully she knew the Lord. I guarantee you, the law
they're the ones that should have been
in this particular case, I believe, is on the right side. Now we're gonna get into.
What is God on their side?
I believe God is on their side.
Why?
Because God do not like murder. Okay. I think it's one of the commandments, right?
I think he also say he like people having to make their own choices. Well, he also like you not interfering with those choices. Let the person make the choice. But okay, now if their choice is wrong, that's their choice.
We always come back to the choice when it's more
who choice is it? Did that woman have a choice to get pregnant?
I don't know. See, we don't know the story.
We don't know the story. Well, let's say she didn't have a choice. Somebody raped her. Okay. Well, and then that's up to her to decide if she want to keep that rapist baby. But nowadays we know that woman don't have that choice, do she?
Well,
you go ahead. My friend here,
because like I say, that's another issue when we talk about choice.
We'll revisit it one day.
We will be revisiting. We're going to be revisiting with the foundation of what choice is. Because we all make.
Since we on it, so what is choice?
We make choices,
okay,
and it's a free choice and it's an unfree choice.
I like to get down to the nitty gritty. What is a choice?
We gonna get to find out. We're gonna get definitions. We gonna get that. We gonna look at it in terms of not Grady and not Darnell. We're gonna look in terms what is real choice. What is real freedom? What is real? We gonna like even an inmate.
Real freedom is you and I sitting here talking about what things we do. That's freedom. We got freedom to do that.
Exactly.
That's why we may have. Who knows? In a few years, we may have had that freedom.
Matter of fact, I saw something on TV.
Somebody may be busting through the door.
Afghanistan now, the women shut up. The women can't even go outside without that thing over their head.
They don't have a choice, do they?
We have choices now.
Yeah, we do have choices. Everybody, even they have a choice.
But if we keep down that road, we gonna be just like those Afghanistan women. We got 5 minutes.
All right, sir.
Okay.
I'm done talking.
Okay.
We're going to
Okay.
I'm giving
So
you the last-
we don't want to be like those Afghanistan women. We want to make the right.
No, we don't want to
choice.
be like those Afghanistan men
men who put that on. Put that on the women. We want freedom of choice, but we want to have babies sometime running around here. We won't have nobody.
Yeah, babies
we
are
have
good.
to export babies from
Live children running
someplace
around,
else.
shoot, they bring joy to your life.
So we want babies. Okay, I'll leave it alone. Okay, so we gon' since we only got 5 minutes, but we want to at least get a definition again before we go back to NMASH, because I got a lot of material now on this subject, and I think this is the love subject. This is the boundary side. Is the families that are characterized by overly close and poorly defined boundaries, and we're gonna look at it from another perspective, not just from a human perspective, because families should have we say boundaries, but families should be not in mash.
What do you mean? Not from a human perspective.
We're gonna look at it from a godly perspective, not from just man's perspective. We're gonna look at families in terms of what do God say about this subject. Because if we don't look at it from there, all we doing is spinning our wheels, and we will be going back and saying, well, this is not right. And then little children will have more say over parents and all this other good stuff. They should not be making, at certain ages, they should not be making certain decisions. Emotional involvements, over dependencies, and lack of individual autonomy. When you get older, yes, when you're 18, you move away from home, 19 or whatever, you move away from home. It should be some boundaries, from a family perspective. But we usually overreach. We do an overreach. If you don't do what I say do, I'm gonna do this or that and the other. I don't have to talk to you. And then one family I know of, they cut that person off from seeing the grandchildren if they didn't seek certain whatever counseling sessions or whatever. That's not right. But that's that family's prerogative, but we got to understand this subject right here, because this affects all of us. This affects love, because true love is unconditional love, and we're gonna get to that. You got anything to say before this last
Emesh? I know it. Yes, Emesh again. It had to deal with how basically we treat one another.
Yes,
within a family, families can get ruthless.
Yes.
They can get mean. They can get nasty. They think because of the relationship, particularly say siblings have one another, they can treat each other bad.
That's true.
And they think that you should be okay with it. And that's part of that MS stuff. We have to learn not to treat one another bad within families. I mean, there are families out there that know this already, but then there are families out there who know this and still don't care. A lot can be said. A lot can we deal with this. Even with a mesh, we talk about a mesh here. If the human family had enough love for one another and decided to treat each other fairly, then I don't think we would have wars in this country. I don't think we would have a division amongst each other. A lot of that stuff.
Now we agree.
Yeah, we always agree.
We agree.
But
we agree on things. Blurred boundaries and lack of individuality and emotional over-involvement and all this control disguised as love. This is what we call relationship, and we gonna even define relationship from another perspective. And then family should not be the in-laws and all of us. We gotta come together. It's family from a God perspective. It's family.
One Lord, one faith, one baptism. In Bible they say,
before it's over, it's going to be that big family.
Yeah.
And one blood. And it ties you, and you got to make decisions. You got to be a leader. You got to be order. And some people make bad decisions. Some family members, you got to make decisions on some of the family members. Even when they move out, you got to make decisions because they still making bad decisions.
Right, that's true, because
and they say, well, everybody, as long as, you should mind your business. No.
It ain't about minding business. If a family member
make bad decisions,
then
it affects the family.
It affects them, yes. And so, you have to kind of make a decision whether or not you want to continue with that person, because that person can drag you into something that you got no business being into. And that's when you have to realize, whether or not you have to make a choice as to whether or not you want to be dragged into a situation where you have no business being in.
Well,
you know, 'cause family members can drag you down.
Yeah, they can.
You know, they can drag you down.
They still family, and they still you got to deal with them. You know,
Like I said, sometimes the best way to deal with a family member is to have no dealings with them at all. Until that person, unless that person straighten up. I mean, you can, if that person, I mean, I don't, you know,
Let's go
one
back. How
strike,
many
two strike,
times
three
you
strikes.
put that- no,
it ain't about forgiveness. It ain't about forgiveness. Okay? When and you like to talk about, you know, he talked about Judas sometime. What happened with Judas? He got cut him off right away. He can't, you know, he went on there, he cut him off. He said, okay, we can't have dealing. Paul even said, if at all possible, live peaceably with all men.
It's all possible.
If it's possible. If it ain't, he didn't say keep going. We have to pull that out and say, well, you know, if it ain't possible for me and you to get along. So we got to separate. Bam. Peter and Paul separated, did they not?
Right.
Because they were on different.
And they came back at it later.
They did their friendship didn't get destroyed, but they still separated and did what they had to do. Well, now what? I ain't gonna get into that because I have to do too much speculation.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna speculate in that.
Always
But
speculate.
because you know I'm a thinker. Okay, I'm a critical thinker.
Well,
I like to think
discuss
forward.
that probably next week.
Yeah, I'm a forward-thinking person,
I know.
and I think because that's my nature. That's what I do. Sometimes I think so much I can't even sleep at night.
Yeah,
I'm like
seem
my
like
brain.
you seem
Well, I
like
be
you're
going.
thinking. Whether the right thinker or not, it's still a thinker. But we'll leave it on that note.
Yeah, we'll talk about all kinds of thoughts.
We're gonna talk about some stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about some stuff.
We're gonna leave it here, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna discuss this because this right thinker over here who overthinks. We're gonna come back to his thoughts, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna do it next week. God bless you. We'll
Amen.
see you next week. Bye bye.